Okay, the kind folks at Meta brought me out to Germany to check out Gamescom and as well get my hands on with Batman Arkham Shadow. I got a decent amount of time with the game. I got to experience quite a bit of what it has to offer, and I wanted to go over my hands-on impressions with you guys. Before we do so though, I got to address some elephants in the room. Number one, I do have B-roll for you guys here in this video. It is not me playing though. This is just footage that was provided to us. Number two, showing you video of a VR game being played, it just doesn't do it justice. Even at opening night live, when they have a fancy gameplay trailer to premiere for you guys, it still doesn't do it justice. A VR game is really hard to market, and you'll never truly understand what all the hype is about until you tried it out yourself. It's the same way where how you'll never know what the feeling is like to scroll down and hit the thumbs up button on one of Cabooses videos until you try it, and it's an amazing experience. And yeah, I've been talking a lot with people about how I know we wish that we got another traditional quote-unquote Batman Arkham game. Even people who are fans of VR are sad that this is exclusive to the Meta Quest 3. It's the newest hardware, but this is one of those games that requires the newest hardware. It needs the best tech that's out there, and the Meta Quest 3 fits that description. If you look at the console side of things, there are games that fall under that same criteria. But I don't want to discredit anybody's frustrations with that specifically. However, make no freaking mistake, this is a Batman Arkham game. Like, unequivocally, it's got the snappy combat, bouncing from enemy to enemy. It's got an array of gadgets. It's got great stealth encounters, sliding off rooftops, crawling through vents, all of it. Everything that you expect from a Batman Arkham game, it's here. From the moment that I stepped in and I'm hearing Roger Craig Smith's voice as Batman, I mean, I went crazy. And then we were interrupted by Roger Craig Smith's real voice. The guy was right in front of us. He wanted us to stop our demo real quick to say hi. What an amazing moment. I got to meet Roger. I got to tell him how great of a voice he is as Batman and how happy we all were to hear him back in the role. And I mean, it's especially cool when you're playing it in VR and you're hearing Roger Craig Smith's voice as Batman coming out of your face, essentially. Because listen, there's a big meme about it, but I feel like out of every Batman game we've gotten, even the last VR one, this is the one that really, truly, genuinely makes you feel like Batman. Sadly, we didn't get a whole lot of story to delve into. This is more of a hands-on to get an understanding of how this game plays, so I'm not going to be able to jump into too much of that. There was some interesting things going on, obviously, with the rat catcher, and there was some collectibles out there too to find to get little bits of extra story tidbits, but unfortunately, we just didn't have enough time with our hands-on demo to be able to really sink our teeth into what's going on in terms of the narrative. But when it comes to the combat, I mean, it's really simple. If you think in your mind what it would be like when you were in the boots of Batman playing an Arkham game in real life, essentially, it all works how you expect it to. You clench your fist with the controller when you're in a combat encounter, you see an enemy, and swing, you'll then lunge towards them. But you see, that's where the real fun kicks in, because after your first hit, it's then gonna prompt you with what you can do to follow up to keep your combo counter going. Sometimes it'll be an uppercut, sometimes it'll be a right hook, sometimes you'll be grabbing the dude and need to pummel the hell out of him. In other instances, I had a guy's leg and I needed a hammer fist down to break his knee. Hell, sometimes I'm grabbing a dude and in order to finish the combo, I need to pull him in and hit him with a headbutt. Remember, this is a follow-up to Batman Arkham Origins, so this is the younger, kind of inexperienced Batman, the far more brutal Batman. And while I would never say that you don't feel the impact when it comes to the combat in the mainline Arkham games, I feel like we kind of got desensitized to it. You know, when you get into a combat encounter in the mainline Arkham games, you kind of just go on autopilot. But when you're playing Batman Arkham Shadow, when you got the Meta Quest 3 on, you really start to feel the power of each hit. You really feel when you break a guy's leg or when you knock somebody out. It's incredibly satisfying and very brutal in all the best ways. Countering a hit is also really simple. Whenever you see that counter icon over somebody's head, you just throw your arm up to block the hit. Again, though, that's just the gist of it. The fun really comes into play when you start to see enemies trying to hit you off screen. You're gonna see a counter icon either on your right or your left. In those instances, you'll be in the middle of a combo, you'll be beating down an enemy in front of you, throw your arm up, and then the camera's gonna immediately switch over to that enemy that you just countered, and now you can go and take them down. It was kind of a workout when you're in the thick of it, when you got a couple of enemies on screen and you want to maintain that combo counter like we all do when you're playing an Arkham game, but it's great. It's super fun, and it really, really works. By the time you're like done a combat encounter, you'll be eager to find another group of enemies to fight. And then obviously we got to go into some stealth, and I feel like that's where this game, Batman Arkham Shadow, being a VR game, is where it's going to exceed the most. In regular Arkham games, you know, those third-person games, you can kind of survey the landscape. You can kind of peek around those corners when an enemy is about to approach. You can't really do that when you're locked into that first-person perspective, as it is a VR game. Now, you do have your detective vision, and again, it's really fun to activate. Just pull up your controller next to your headset, and then you click, and then boom, detective vision activated. And outside of that, again, when you go into a predator encounter, all of the things that you remember from what you would want to be doing in a regular Arkham game, it's all right here. Perch on a gargoyle, hang upside down, wait till the enemy lines up with you, then you scoop them up and take them down. Hide under a grate, use your detective vision, wait till an enemy is above you, then boom, take them down. Hide right around a corner, crouch down, and again, it's all very much similar to how it was in the previous Batman Arkham games. You have this whole mechanic where you kind of have to let go, I think, of the triggers and like literally reach out if you want to go for a stealth takedown. And then from there, it's quite fun. You're gonna have them in a chokehold, and you literally gotta wrangle them and throw them around like a rag doll. If you don't actually complete that, you're not gonna knock them out. They're gonna turn around and start shooting at you, and then you gotta drop a smoke bomb and get the hell out of Dodge. But again, just that nature of choking them out and throwing them side to side, very much playing into this younger, more brutal Batman. And yes, okay, when you're in the thick of it and an enemy spots you and you've got to grapple up onto a gargoyle, or if you got to go from gargoyle to gargoyle because enemies are knowing that you're up there, it can get a bit disorienting on a VR headset. Even when you're gliding around, sometimes it can be a lot to take in. If you haven't played a VR game before, or at least if you haven't played a VR game for an extended period of time before, I wouldn't be surprised if you get some sort of motion sickness. I got a little close during my playthrough with the demo, but honestly, I felt good by the end of it. I didn't have to worry about any of that, but it is something that I would warn you if you haven't played VR, or if you haven't played a VR game like this. And visually, yeah, Batman Arkham Shadow is definitely not anything to write home about. This is not going to be the most realistic game you've ever seen in your entire life. And I mean, to be fair, you really shouldn't be expecting that out of a VR game anyways. At least not one that's going to have a decently lengthy story like Batman Arkham Shadow will, and is as feature-full as this game is. There's tons of combat, lots of stealth encounters, gadgets, a full-fledged story to experience, cutscenes, all of that. So while it's not going to be like a visual feast or anything like that, while it's not going to be the best looking game you've ever played in your life, what I will say about it is that this game looked very similar visually to that of Batman Arkham City. If you follow this channel, you know Arkham City is my favorite Batman Arkham game. It's my favorite video game ever made. So be able to walk the literal streets of the game that I grew up playing in, that was crazy. It filled me with a lot of nostalgia, but also excitement at the same time. When you get your hands on this game, you will be proven wrong. So many of you have written this off. So many of you have checked out from giving this game a chance. I'm telling you, you're making the wrong choice. You judged way too quickly on Batman Arkham Shadow, and I'm honestly really glad that after that gameplay trailer, a lot of heads were turned. A lot of people that originally didn't want this game are now like, wait, that looks cool. And I'm happy to report that it plays as cool as it looks. If you currently, at the moment, cannot afford a MetaQuest 3, again, I understand your frustrations. But if you've just written this off and don't even want to give this game a chance, you're missing out, man. The story could be not great. I don't know. I haven't fully experienced that, so we're going to have a lot more to talk about in October. But after the demo that I played at Gamescom this past week, I have a lot to look forward to when this game comes out later this year. And with that being said, let me now kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section below. Are you looking forward to Batman Arkham Shadow more after this video? I want to hear what you guys have to say. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts on this game when it does come out, well, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications. I've been Caboose. I'll see you guys later.